basically working on some different stuff. But before that, so we were doing this fungible asset example the last time. Did anyone continue building on that further? So basically, we had this fungible assets example file, this move file that we first set up, then supposed to publish that module. Then we had this TypeScript file where using that we were supposed to basically just show the primary balance, then transfer some tokens, and then show the primary balance again. So yeah, did was that working for people? Was that not working for people? This was the output. Okay, perfect, beautiful. Okay, so Tehlil has shared this. Um, so was there anyone who tried it and was facing any sort of issue, any sort of error that you want us to address that we can look into? Otherwise, because this is a working example, it's from the docs only, I would suggest that you try it out. It's just basically running the scripts. First is publishing the move module, then importing that correctly, and then just running all of the functions that are there, more or less. So there is not a lot of not even a lot of, there's like no changes you have to make to the files unless you want to rename certain things or do some different actions. This would be working like as it is. So I would appreciate if you folks just try it out and complete this. So because we did the NFT example in class, right? For the this example, I don't want to take much time because again, we won't be able to cover other things then. So just try it out. In case anyone runs into any issues, feel free to reach out. Also, I think Alice had dropped me a Telegram message. I saw best to look into it during the class time. So, okay, question regarding the parameters of the payload that is sent along the transaction, blah 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 blah. Okay, cool. So, Alice, basically, I in the last class, I don't think you were there, so I had shared this link to the um, TypeScript SDK reference. One second, I'll share it again. So, actually, I'll just share my screen and show people, and I'll just refresh everyone's memory once as well. So basically, Alice is asking about certain arguments that are there. So anytime you have any question like this, you can just come here and you can do like a search for whatever you want to check. So basically, this was the one that you were asking, right? Entry function payload. So over here, you can actually just see the declaration that they have defined and what it takes. So type arguments would basically wait, let me show you. It will basically take any sort of like U8, U16, all of these different things. What is the type of whatever parameters we are sending here? Actually, there was another this thing that was there. Yeah. From here you can see. Yep, any sort of like what is the type that is being shared there. So, meaning that in your normal arguments that you will be sending, what is the type of that particular argument that you would be sending? In this case, basically, I think this is for the transfer function. So first, like this thing, arguments is like who the transfer function is being like the amount is being transferred to. Second probably might be just the amount. You can just check out because it's a standard function. So you can just actually open this up and check out what is the thing. And type argument is this particular type because that is what is being transferred. So that's the reason we have it as 0x1 Aptos coin. Yep. You can just set it like basically it will differ based on whatever is the function, whatever arguments are there. So I hope that explains what you're doing. We will be adding, actually, I'll be showing one or two examples today as well. It will make things more clearer. Let me see if I can show you another example. One second. And I actually wanted to show you one more thing. Where is it? Yeah, maybe this one. Okay, I'll just stop sharing this screen and I'll show you another screen. So today we'll be doing like basically we'll be following just this tutorial that is there currently on the Aptos dev documentation, because we have covered all the things around working with Move modules. We have covered like using the Aptos SDK and stuff, but we have to now talk about how can we think about creating end-to-end dapps. Okay, so when we are talking about end-to-end dapps, we have covered the backend plus smart contract logic in one sense, because now we know how to create our smart contracts, and now we using ethers, like how I gave the example of ethers JS and how we can communicate with the smart contracts. We use the Aptos SDK to make that communication happen. But now we have the third element of it missing, which is communicating and setting this up with the front end. Right. So that means that number one aspect of it is how do we have first of all the wallet integrations, how do we get like connect with the Aptos wallet and stuff, and the second part of it would be how can we then through the SDK and stuff, well, like let's say we have a React this thing, right, and then we have certain data that we want to submit on chain. So we have a field which is like a normal input field. We will be using a normal React change state. We'll be just changing the state to that, and then we'll be sending that information using the SDK to submit or communicate with our smart contract to get finally submitted on the Aptos blockchain. Okay, so this is the part that we are missing. And another aspect of it is also whenever we are submitting and all of that, how can we fetch whatever information is there already, right? So that is another aspect of it as well. So we will now be so seeing like through this example how we can actually create this entire thing. We will be creating this entire thing right now. So what I will do is I'll just share my screen and then I'll tell you where like the link. I'll just drop the link that you can use to set things up. So yeah, so we are starting off with building this end-to-end to-do list app. Okay, so starting with the smart contract side, then we'll end with the front-end side and the use of the wallet. Okay, so I'm just gonna skip all of this, the prerequisites part, etc. I'm just skipping it off because I mean the CLI, the SDK, you already know. Create React app, node and npm, you already know. Like if you have created things with React, and the only change that is being added here is the Aptos wallet adapter, which is just for the wallet communication, right? So yep. So this is basically like them creating a new directory and then entering that directory. This is cool. We'll just move to the smart contract part, and I'll just show you how the smart contract looks. I'm gonna skip all of these things because we have learned how to do all of these things. We have our basically these things set for other smart contracts. So gonna skip all of this, just coming directly to the move module. So what you can do is instead of even creating all of these new things up, an existing project that we have created in that sources, you can just add this module, and we can deploy and publish from there. That's absolutely fine. Just make sure whatever addresses you're using, you know which addresses are there. Like don't use multiple addresses and get confused later on that why this is not working. Why do I not have access to run this? So let's just see what the to-do list.move file looks like. I'm just gonna move directly to the bottom. Actually, wait, let me do it slowly. So here they have defined this to-do list. We have first, this is the to-do list. It just has key and as an ability. So it is basically saving all of the tasks. It has an event, and then there's a counter for the tasks. Okay, and this table thing that they have defined, I believe, is just a way of creating like a data structure which takes like two things together, which basically is saying something like saving this as ID and the task actually. So maybe they're calling it table because it kind of resembles like a 2D array sort of an interface for how it would be looking, right? So you can just save it up like this, and then yeah, event. This is like a classic uh, this thing that they already have data structure. This is a normal U64. Then they have defined the struct. which are store, drop, and copy. This does not have the key attribute because they have like the task ID and all of these things defined in this. And then we are like in the to-do list tasks, we are then keeping the ID along with this, right? So we don't we have the way to like key and then get that particular task that we are talking about, right? And we have the task ID, we have the address, we have the content for that task, and we have then a boolean which basically tells us whether this has been completed or not. Cool. So this is basically what we are working on. And the logic that they have defined here is that account can create a new list and then can create a new task on that list. And whenever someone creates a new task, it emits an event which says task created. Okay. And then the account can mark the task as completed. Okay. So this is basically what we are maintaining over here. Um, and then coming to again, gonna skip all of these things. Only thing that is of importance here is that because this one has the key ability, then we are saying that this is basically a resource, right? Task has the ability to drop and copy, so this is not a resource, but our task list is a resource. Task list, like, sorry, to-do list is a resource in this case. Okay. And then they are just compiling certain things, getting some errors. We're gonna skip this. They realized that they needed to add all of these things because again, these are like the standard things that were not there. That is event and the table, and then string is again very important for doing most of the things that are there. Content is basically of string type over here. Okay. So this is cool. Then they are compiling, and now they're starting to add the functions. Okay. And what are the functions that they are adding here? So they are just doing like a entry level function for creating the list, which is taking the signer object, and then they are just creating the actual list. So just initializing basically here with a new uh, like tasks for like a table for the tasks, and then setting the task event and the task counter as 0. So this is to create a new list. Like there are no tasks basically in this list. The task counter is 0. They're just creating a new list, and then they're moving this resource because we just discussed this is a resource. They're moving this resource to this particular account. So whoever has created it is now basically like the owner of this. And if you remember, we have discussed previously that at a time only one resource can be held by one account because of a particular data type. So like you can only have one to-do list. Like you can't have multiple to-do lists, which makes sense because you just need one. You can just add all of your tasks over there and manage. Okay. So this is cool. Now coming to the task function, create task function. So they have defined like this. They are taking the account signer, content string, right? And then they are using the signer API. If you remember, we have the address of over here. Why are they doing this? Because when they are doing the borrow global mute, it does not take the this thing. It wants the address and not the direct signer object cannot be passed here. That's just how borrow global mute is defined. If you remember our APIs, so you will have to first get it and then get that. And why are they using a borrow global mute? They are using a borrow global mute because they are modifying. They need to modify things over here. And what is being modified? They are actually modifying the to-do list over here. That is why they need the mute reference. Because why are they modifying it? Because they're adding this task over there. So then they are just getting the counter, then incrementing the counter. They're creating a new task. So the ID is now set to the counter. Address, we call it. Content is whatever they are getting from here. And initially the task is obviously not completed, and then they are just putting in the table this new task list counter, new task. Like they are just modifying with this reference, setting the counter, and then they are emitting the final. So this is basically one thing that we have not discussed, but yeah, basically this is the syntax for how an event can be emitted. And here we're just trying a new event for a new task that is being created. I'll just take a moment, pause, and check if there's any doubts in the chat section. And if not, I will just go ahead. Is this cool? Can we move on? move ahead. Okay, cool. Okay, coming back. So, right, this is cool. There's some more imports that they are doing. Yeah, Signer was basically not there, so they are importing this. And yeah, they have explained stuff. I'm just gonna skip this because we discussed that. Yeah, complete task is another function that is there. Why do we have this function here? This is just to basically the boolean that we discussed, right? Now we are just completing a particular task, so we'll be modifying that again, which means that we need to have the borrow global mute reference that is important. And once we have that, we have to get the task which matches the ID and then mark it as completed. We are getting the task because we know which account it is associated with it, and we also know which particular ID it is associated with. So we are able to get that particular task record over here. Okay. So okay, this is cool. We now have an understanding of how to do this. Um, then they are adding certain validations very quickly. I'll just go over this. When they are creating a task, they are checking if that particular task list exists. So this is the exist statement that they are making for the particular task list, whether it exists or not. And similarly, they have added more assert statements. One is for the complete task, whether the task exists or not. Sorry, whether the task list exists or not, whether the task exists or not, which we are trying to complete, and whether it is already completed or not. Because if it's already completed, then you can't mark it as anything for that matter. And if you see this, if you remember this 1, 2, 3 that you see on the right, what does this signify? This is basically the error code that we are sending out. If you remember in the previous classes, we first defined a constant error code as a particular number. I think we did 100, or something like this last time. So it's just that you can basically show. So if someone sees something like this in the debug statement, they will know that, hey, this is the thing that has failed and this is why the code is not working. So now see, yeah. So now they have actually replaced this with the constant values as well to show that off. So it's more readable in this sense. So you know that okay, this is the list of errors and this is what has actually happened. This is why it's not working, right? So perfect. So then they have gone ahead and then done Aptos move compile, and then they're just writing some tests. This we have also done in class in the beginning to get the debug outputs, where they have done this test flow, which is like a complete thing that they have done. They have set the this as the wallet account address, and what they are doing is they are first creating an account with this particular this thing. They're creating a list, creating a task, setting this as the content. This is the name, like the string content thing that we saw. New task, and then they are getting the task count, doing some more assertions based off of it, getting the to-do list, uh, basically checking at all the points whether whatever task has been created. So if you see over here, we have the create task. It is just trying to match whether the values are all set correctly or not. Task ID should be 1 because, again, the task ID completed should be false. The content should match with the content that we gave. Um, Address should match to admin. Task count, counter, all of these things. It's what it's doing is just trying to get that particular task that has been created and check whether it is being stored with all of the correct attributes or not. Then marking it as complete and then doing the check again, the same check that we just did. This is just like normal testing that happens if you do normally also in any other language. This is what you will do to check if the data is being saved correctly or not. So yeah, just this bit. So not getting into all of this because yeah, we just discussed all of that. Mm. Yeah, so they are now trying an expected failure. So see, they have attached with this test another line which says expected failure with this particular abort code. So this is a special annotation that they have added. And if you try to run this, it will also do a success. Why? Because of this particular annotation that this should fail, and it fails because here there is no task list that has been created. We have just created an account for test, but there is no list associated with the admin. So there is nothing, no resources attached to it. So this will obviously fail. And this abort code is also mentioned over here. And you can find this over here if you just move back to our last function. This is the one that we called a complete task. So when you try to run this particular assert statement, which tries to check if a list is attached, a resource is attached to this particular address, it will find it's not, and it will just give this particular error, which is what happened, and which is why this particular test has failed, right? So that's why the expected failure is correct with the right abort code, and that's why we are getting it as a success. And the next step here is pretty much just publishing this to-do list module to chain. So here is what I want you to do, folks. I'll just share this particular link with you. This is the link to this particular contract. I'll wait for 5-10 minutes. I just want you to compile all of this code together into your move file, and then try to publish this. So yeah, I'll just give you 5 minutes to try this off. I have the final file with me, but what I want you to do is to try and get this all together and to order this in the right manner for this piece of code to work. So yeah, just try this out. Build your .move file and publish this. Okay, I hope there is no confusion, folks. If there is any doubt, feel free to ask me in chat. Hi, folks. Are you facing any problems with this? Is there any issue? Okay, I can see Alice has published the module. Yeah. You can publish it. I'll wait for 5 more minutes. I want everyone to publish the contract because then we can start with what is next. Uh, 1 second. I'll actually just share the contract also. I don't know what you have written. Yeah, I think because your line says one, I am not sure if this is the mistake, but Ram, have you put the imports at the very beginning without putting it inside the module line, like something like this? It should be first inside this, whatever use statement you're defining. Okay, let me download and check also. But that might be the reason. Let me check. Yeah. You have to put it inside the module. Just open your file. Just put it inside the module. It should start working. Actually, now I'm thinking I should not share my file. I'm gonna actually wait for 2 minutes because this is how you folks will understand, right? That these are the most possible mistakes uh, that you'll end up making, and then you won't make them the next time you start writing contracts. So I'll wait for 2 more minutes for everyone to try and then just publish off your contracts so we can move to the next part of this. Okay. Awesome, Ram. Just addressing here, I opened your contract, so it just has the struct part defined. So there's like a huge uh, code snippet in that. Like you have to basically put all of the codes together. Then it will have all of the functions. So right now it will just have the structs. If that is the same one that you used, the one that you shared with me. Okay, because we do not have much time, I'll just go ahead and share my contract for now that you can deploy. Give me a second. So I have just shared my file, so you can use it and just quickly publish the contract so that we can move to the next part. If we had time, we could have explored doing it with more this thing, but just we don't have time that much, so we'll just continue with our example. Okay, so I'll just move to the next this thing of React app. So okay, can someone tell me if basically just want to know if you folks are familiar with React? Like, is there anyone who is not familiar with React? Okay. I can see someone mentioning not familiar with React. Oh, wait one second. Okay, so folks, so this is like a big requirement right now. I can't go into talking a lot about React because that will take up a lot of time. So I will tell you a little bit around React while we are going through this. But before that, you will have to install like the Create React app package that can enable you to spin a React app. You'll get the commands right now. That is cool. But yeah, so basically React is a front end this thing, basically a front end framework that allows you to just like the folks who are in Flutter and stuff, they are setting up the front end. Can understand, but I can't can code in React here is definitely still use it. Yeah, I mean you can still use it. But yeah, if you're using the updated version of whatever, that is fine, not a problem. They have just showed it for the purpose of the tutorial. Um, I can understand, but I can't code in React. That's fine, Kranti. If you can understand, that should just be fine because the idea is just to create a very base level implementation. So shouldn't be that big of a issue. Okay, then I'll just continue off with this tutorial. So first thing you can do is you can just set this up. um, just set up this command. I'll actually through this tutorial just keep copy pasting the commands to you to follow along. So yeah, just take this command, set this up. This will just spin up a new uh, folder called client. You can name it something else as well. With this, okay, they have not shown the structure here, but okay. And then you can just enter that and do an npm start. So you will have a default React layout spin up on this 3000 port. So then we can actually continue with the next part of things. Um, just updating the content and stuff. But yeah, let's just wait for a minute. I just want you folks to spin this up first, your uh, project directory. Once you're done, just put a message that yeah, it's done, so I can continue with the tutorial. Okay, perfect. So continuing, um, so they have done these things. I'll just skip a couple of these things. They have just modified the whatever the default code would have been with this, and then they are starting to build out the this thing UI. So they are just saying what the flow would be here from a UI perspective. So they have given like a header here, our to-do list, then they have a connect wallet, and then a add new list thing. So the flow simply being that the user will come, they'll connect their wallet. Here we're talking about the Aptos wallet, then they will create the new list, and then they can create a new task here, and then the tasks will be fetched and will be shown. Okay, so we'll just see, and they have done this and design library stuff here as well. So a lot of the elements that we'll be using will just be coming from the design library. You can actually open this and look at how the library also works. And for this, they are first making us install this particular UI library package. So I'm just gonna copy and give you this to install this up. So once you're done with installing, we'll just update this with this initial UI. This will basically set up our first screen that we are seeing. Um, and yeah, this is just going to be the element that we'll have to do. Then we'll start off with the wallet support. So I'm just gonna wait for a minute. This would be essentially the code you can just put over here. I'll just give you that code. I doubt if it will look fine in terms of Zoom. So Zoom has really, yeah, disgusted me with this indentation. But yeah, once you actually just put it in your VS Code and just do like a control as given your auto indentation, then this should get fixed up. So yep, I'm just gonna send you the link as well for this page so you can also do it on your own. Just install this particular library, set this page up, and then would love to see how it looks at your end. Okay, perfect. Okay. Uh, I hope everyone else has also done. Alice, Telil, Ram, all of you folks. Okay, cool. So setting up Petra wallet. Okay, so if you remember at the very beginning, we did the like wallet. I had asked you folks to set up wallet for Petra, which is official wallet for Aptos, as well as Martian wallet. So now I hope you folks have installed those wallets. If not, just take a moment and install Petra and Martian wallet. For me personally, Petra wallet gives me a lot of issues. That's why I prefer to use Martian wallet. But if it's working fine for you, that's great as well. Uh, you can use your previous wallet, that's fine. Basically, in my system, for the pop up, the Petra wallet does not pop up by itself. So there's some issue with it. So for me, the Martian wallet works better. Wait, I'll also link the Martian wallet for people who don't have access to it. Give me 1 second. So this is the link to the Martian wallet. You can also set this up if you want. But first, you can just set up Petra wallet, it's the official wallet. So now we are coming to this actually the wallet communication thing. So I know people here would have used the like the window dot some MetaMask object thing, or you folks might have used Rainbow like library etc. to like have multiple wallet support in your normal Ethereum based apps. Similarly, Aptos has this wallet adapter that can support many ecosystem, meaning like the Aptos based wallets for a common interface. So they have given the link for the same. They have given two links. One is just the React adapter, and then for the UI for the same, right? So you can just go ahead and add these two wallets. Sorry, add these two packages. I'm just gonna copy. Let me just copy paste the entire link to this uh, tutorial only, and I'll also give you the packages that you need to install. So this is the design and the wallet package. I'll wait for a minute. What I want you folks to do is once you're done with this installation, we'll basically be looking at this wallet things, like whatever wallets we want to add. So here they have just given the support for the Petra wallet, but with this we'll be adding another wallet as well, the Martian wallet. Maybe we can do it later. Maybe you can try it out, and maybe it works out well for you. Maybe my version is um, not the correct one, but we'll try this out once with this. If it doesn't work, we'll also add the Martian wallet, and I'll show you the wallet adapter React package on GitHub as well, and how you can use it well, like how you can add other wallets, like giving people the option. Right now, if you add only this, then you will only see one option there for people to only connect Petra. So yeah, just gonna wait for a minute for you folks to just install up till this point. Actually, let me just go over this code also. You can try to attempt the whole thing at once. So after that, what we'll be doing is that we'll be importing the wallets. So the adapter that will let us communicate and Petra wallet specifically. And then we are basically initializing this. If there would have been multiple wallets, we could have added more wallets over here. Then we are just basically our entire code, the app, we are just kind of encapsulating in this Aptos wallet adapter. Uh, yep. And then we are just setting up a wallet selector. So this is all because we have this UI library. So we can just really use everything, and you will see it will just come up very beautifully. Don't need to do a lot of things. It already has a CSS file which you can modify if you want. They have just imported it here, and in the return statement, in this particular this thing, they have just added the wallet connect. So they have in the return statement they have removed this connect wallet and added this wallet selector component. So you can just try this off and do an npm start. You will actually be able to uh, just do the connect wallet thing actually, like be able to connect your wallet. So I'll just wait for a few minutes for you folks to come up to speed till this point. I have the whole working thing open and I'll show you how it looks for me. Let me just stop sharing. So basically, this connect wallet. So I have this. Because my Petra doesn't work, so I can't actually show you the next part. But yeah, this just comes up here very beautifully. We'll add Martian for me to show how it works, but cannot. What? 1 second. Uh, so this error usually pops up for me, Dalil, when there is some useless cache for Node. So what I do is I just remove that cache. Let me send you the command on how to do that. 1 second. Yeah, I think this can help probably. If not, you'll have to spin up a new. Uh, let's try this once if this works. Otherwise, you'll just have to spin up a new node project and make sure you are on node 16 or something like a fresh project. Just spin that up. I think you should be able to work with it. Okay. 1 second. Yours is around use state. Uh, I think, yeah, no, your error is a bit different. Um, can you share your file once, um, Tahlil? Because you're saying it's coming on reading use state. Have you imported React itself at the beginning? So basically something along the lines of 1 second. Let me actually share the from the previous code that we did, right? Let me share the import statement with you. Alright. This. Okay, Petra is connecting for other people, but for some reason it's not connecting with me. How can I activate Aptos wallet in Flutter? Basically, as root Aptos is designed for interacting Aptos and Aptos SDK dot. However, I'm unable to locate any API documentation or guidance in establishing a connection with a wallet in a tab. Interesting, Kranti. Uh, Let me actually just take a screenshot of this. I'll try to see if I can get a response from the Aptos team on this to help you navigate for this. Give me 1 second. Okay, I have sent your query to the Aptos team. Uh, Okay. Telil, can you share your code? That would be useful. What is your current code? Uh, Tomiwa has shared. So usually I do 16 because most of the things work on 16. I don't try to do 12 because it's too outdated. I don't try to do 20 because it's too forward. That is great. That is great. Looks like it's a problem with my Petra wallet. I need to update, reset that. Uh, so, maybe are you facing any issue or just trying to share it to help Pelil navigate through his issue? Okay, cool. I'll wait for a few minutes for folks to try things out. I'll stop sharing this screen now. Um, move back to our tutorial. Okay, perfect, Tumya. Um, okay, so once we are done with this wallet support part, then just a few tutorials away, and we will actually we are now actually at the stage of learning how to build end-to-end dApps on Aptos. So that's like a big achievement for all of us, right? So a small congratulations to each and every one of you for making it this far in the Aptos uh, series, because this is where the main fun will start. Like, I'll circle back with Kiran on your project and stuff, because now is the time you can start shipping and creating wonderful dApps on Aptos. There is a lot of things that need to be built out on Aptos. So this is where we can actually grow, and like, you can actually be the next set of founders on Aptos as well, if that is something of interest to you. Be it TIFA application, be it analytics application, be it NFT applications, be it social applications, be it developer tooling applications, a lot of things that can be done depending on whatever is your area of interest. You can actually start shipping a lot of beautiful things out there. Okay, I'm just gonna move to the fourth listing for 2 minutes, and then we will start. Okay, so the next part of the tutorial is again very interesting, because this is actually what we have done sort of based on our SDK examples. We have already done these things, so it will just be us repeating that. So we are just doing an app npmi aptos, importing these particular classes, provider and network from this, and then we are just going about creating a new provider with this particular network being defined as devnet. And what we'll be doing next is that we'll get our basically whatever account that you just connected with, right? So we are using this use wallet thing to catch whichever account we are connecting with. We are destructuring and getting that particular account here, and then based on basically just using this use effect to get that particular, if the account exists, then what is their address, and then we are defining our fetch list function. So because this particular part of the tutorial is when you connect the wallet, the next thing that we want is the tasks that are associated with that particular account to come and to be shown, right? So this is exactly why we are now defining this fetch list, and this is all the just the syntax of what you would do in using the SDK and like a normal script now being done in as part of like a React application. It's all just that. So you are just defining what module we are talking about. Then we are doing await provider dot get account resource. How do you, where does this function coming from? If you go back to our TypeScript SDK, what I had just shared, you can just search this reference, and this will take first argument as whatever is the particular account, second argument as the function ID, which in this case is whatever module it does, to-do list, to-do list. So we are getting that particular resource, and then we are setting the account as true. But if you're not able to get it, then it will just be false, right? So this is what we are doing. We're just trying to get that particular to-do list resource. Once we have the to-do list resource, what is there next for us? The next thing that we will be trying to do would just be like this particular thing then would be true, right? So I'm sorry if I'm being too fast right now. I'm kind of assuming that people know React, but essentially this is like a conditional rendering statement that is possible with React. So only and only if this thing is there is when this particular element will be shown. Meaning that if the account does not have a list, only then this particular element that is in this round brackets would be shown, which is add new list. Now, if the account already has a list, then this would not be shown, right? So this is conditional rendering that is there in React. And if I move up, these are basically just variables that we are setting at different points of time. So that is the account has list is getting the value from there, and that is being set over here. Okay, I'll just take a minute. Yeah, I don't even need to take a minute in the sense that we are already done with this fetch data from chain thing. So it's just basically setting that context for when it should show add new list and when it should not show. So now we have this particular button set. So next is how to create a new list by submitting new data, data to the chain. This is what we'll see next, and in the sixth one we'll actually see set the tasks that are already there. So we need to set our wallets on also on devnet, right? Yeah, so whenever you spin up, you will just have to basically change the network. So you can just see it in your particular wallet. I could have shown you, but my Petra wallet is not opening. But essentially, just edit the network that you can see, and the rest should be just fine. Like whenever you are trying to run it, so it should just be fine. I think, as far as I remember, uh, the behavior would be simply like when you will try to do it. Uh, 1 second. Yeah, so the behavior should be something like when you try to do it, it should automatically get you to switch to that particular this thing. Whenever we're trying to make a new transaction, it will try, just like how you can see on MetaMask as well. But I'm not sure if the wallets on Aptos are at that stage or not. I don't remember, to be honest. So yeah, we can just actually try it out as well. Um, So I know that in this Martian wallet, I can see that at the very top, it gives me the option to switch the network. I do not know how the Petra interface looks like. But yeah, I'm just gonna wait for a couple of minutes for you folks to attempt and complete this fetch data from chain thing. I hope this was clear. Basically, what we are doing is we are using a provider and we are using this use wallet function that is already basically defined in our package, right? That allows us to get the address of the account that is connected. Once we get that address using the provider, we are calling this particular get. account resource function from the TypeScript SDK, which allows us to basically check if that particular account has a to-do list resource attached to it or not. If it does, then we don't show anything, like, but if it doesn't, then we show the add new list option. So this is what where we are at so far. I'll take a moment, pause, and I'll wait for you folks to get up to speed in terms of your code. But yeah, once that happens, you can see an interface just like what I just showed you on my React app. This add new list button, which is present over here, you should be able to see something like this. So yeah, I'll just wait for you folks to try it out. Yeah. It's a cache issue only. Um, it had happened with me before, but the error message was a bit different than use state, I think. But this happens whenever it shows something like can't do something, something. Yeah, cannot read properties of null. This error really tormented me, and then I understood that okay, this is why it's happening. Some cache issue. Okay. Are you folks participating in Unfold? That's coming up. And Eat India. Tomiwa, you have to come to India, man, for Eat India. Checking back in books, where are we at with fetching data from chain? Yeah, yeah. That's because Sumaya, we have not moved to the next part of the tutorial. We have not defined what will happen if that is not the case. So this is just our code, right? I think it should not show this for sure. Like this should get set, but maybe take a refresh. It should work. Well, basically, it should not show anything. Because your this variable would turn out to be true. But yeah, till you go to 6, then only you'll be able to show the task associated and add new task and all of that button. Yeah, that is correct behavior because it is not showing anything because that is the code that you have here, right? Let me show you 1 second. So the code that we have here says that this particular brace, right? Now it will only enter this if this is correct. But now your account has list is true. So this won't be entered at all. And that means after your our to-do list, there is no piece of code after that. So it should not show you anything. That is correct behavior. It's not okay. I'm not sure what can any one of you share any screenshot or something. What are you referring to? I'm not sure. You can do one more thing. You can just turn off the server and start it again. What's the case for the rest of folks? Terrell, Alice, Ram. Where are you at in terms of the tutorial? Okay, cool. Should we move to lesson 5 then? Things will start becoming more clearer. You folks have not shared the screenshot with me, so I'm not sure what's the issue that you are talking about because it is according to code only, the behavior. It should not show something. Anyways, so now that we got the like a little bit around this, now we'll actually start submitting data because now we have the option to create add new list. Now, what happens when someone tries to click that? And that is when we need to start calling the functions, right? So we need to actually submit transactions. That's why now we are also getting this particular like extracting sign and submit this particular thing, and we are adding this on click to this button, the add new list button. Now there's an on click that this will happen when you click it, defining this add new list function. So we are saying that if there is no account, then come back, meaning there is no Petra account connected. If that's not the case, then we have this particular payload where this is basically the same syntax where we have defined this function. This is the function ID, and there's nothing else that we need to pass here. So like no particular argument etc that we need to pass. So all we just need to do is we just need to submit just this, wait for the response, wait for the transaction, and then set our account as list as true because now this is supposed to be true, right? And now what we'll do is in our fetch list function, this particular line, they are just asking us to move this. They're basically just asking us to move this particular module address over here. Reason being that it's not only used within that function, we are using it for this function as well. So just move it out is what they're saying. Um, then now that we have this particular thing, they have again given the breakdown for all of these things. Uh, mm, 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 mm. Okay, then we are just getting the whether the transaction is done or not. They are using a boolean to basically maintain that state, and if it's done, they have added this sorry, they have updated this new list function uh, to set that. So we have this set transaction in progress as false. If it's true, and if it's not done, then we have this as true, that the transaction is still in progress. And then they're updating the UI to reflect that because then they're adding this particular spinner here, which will get triggered when this whenever this spinning will happen, whenever the transaction in progress is true. So now when you try to click on add new list, we have a particular function set for it, and this is what will happen according to that. So this is all great. This is working just as we intended to. Next, we can move on to handle tasks so that we can actually start dealing with that. Okay, is it possible to fetch module address from the connected wallet instead of passing it manually? Uh, so okay, so module address is basically like it's not necessary that will be around your connected wallet. It can be anything for that matter. That's the reason we need to pass it. Module address so when they say here so basically this function can be called by anyone. So it if you deploy a particular module, it doesn't mean that I can't connect with that with my own wallet and um, use my own wallet address and create a new task list. So that's the reason we are hard coding the module address here, because that module address is not your account connected account address. It is basically the mm, the particular module address, like whenever it was deployed, that address, not the address of the connected wallet. So we can't set it accordingly. uh okay, cool. So now that we are through with this, I'll just wait for a few minutes for you folks to update the code to match this, whatever has been added in this entire thing. You can just start with refurnishing your code a bit to come get up to like speed up to this fifth part of the tutorial, and then we can move to the handle task. So I'll just wait for 5 minutes. You can just set this up. Perfect, perfect. I can see Alice has actually completed the tutorial and she is able to create tasks as well and has, yeah, basically done with the whole thing. So I will wait for a few more minutes. We are at the end, so we only have 12 minutes. Um, I'll very quickly go over this. We'll have to complete the class. So, very quickly go over this. You folks can just try this off after the class gets over. But yeah, this marks the very first app, end to end app that you folks would have deployed on Aptos. So this is the last part. Nothing too big here. What they are doing is we are just creating a type task with the same attributes that you have in our struct, and we are setting like a tasks array, which we initially defining as empty. Then what we are doing is that in this fetch list, we have this. We are actually getting the tasks and setting up whatever is the particular task, the attributes there, and then we are pushing the task in this array that we have. So creating the array, creating the counter, creating this loop that is looping over and getting the items. How are we getting this item? We are getting this because uh, like we are basically defining it with the particular counter that we are setting, and this is the particular resource that we are defining, and we are using this get table item function where we are passing this table item with whatever should be the key and the uh, and because we are passing, this is basically passing the task ID in this sense, and table handle is defined over here. So this is basically the way you can use the table data structure here to get that particular task ID task, and then just push it, the counter it, and this we'll just loop over and fill all of our tasks in our particular task list. So this particular resource, we got it, and through that we have now like got all of our tasks. We are putting it in our tasks array, and then we are just like getting it back. So they have explained all of this. Again, as I said, this is just the way the syntax is for the table item stuff. So just look this up, and just set it accordingly. So that's all is that is being done over here. Um, and another thing that is important here is, yeah, so now because now the tasks are there, if you remember, we just saw this part of code and it was over. But now we have actually created, so this is a ternary operator sort of a thing, right? So what it does is if this is true, then show this, and if it's not true, then show this. So it's like an if else, but this is the way it's done, which means that the first round brackets is the first condition, that if this is the case, then this happens. And the second round bracket is the else condition. So now in our case, the account has list. So account has list is true. So we're gonna do the second part. And the second part is what? The second part is just us showing all of the tasks. And how are we doing that? We are again, this is another way of like just doing syntax in React, which says that if there is a tasks array set, then go and loop and show all of the list items. And this is the way that they have done. So this is just like the UI side of things, where they have defined whatever would be the size, whether it's bordered, blah blah blah. They have set the data source as task, and for every item the rendering, they are showing these things: the task content and the description, with the link of the particular task on the Aptos Explorer. So yeah, the task address, they are just showing a bit of it. So that's the way that they have done it. And then we have this new function for add task as well. So it's cool, like we can see all of the tasks, but now how do we add a new task? So they have then given this add button as well. So this button does not have a on um, like on click function. I'll just show you how this will look in terms of the actual state. That okay, first they have defined the state for new task, set new task with a string, empty string, which is basically the content for that particular task. They have then defined a on write task event, which will just set the new task value, and like whenever that is happening. So then they have just like yeah, they have added this on click for on task added, and this input will just be modified, which like this basically the event will just catch and change it to the this particular function that we have defined. So basically, just getting that particular value that is being inputted in the string for the content. And then this on task added will just be, yeah, it's going to be very similar to how we defined our new list thing. So there was like create list over here. Now we have create task over here. And here we do have an argument because now we have the string that we need to pass. So that's what we are passing over here. Um, and it's getting the latest ID first. So because the counter will start from there, right? So it's getting the latest ID. How it's getting it is from the task dot length. It's just doing We'll just do like a plus one over that, and then it will just submit that entire transaction and push it to the array as well, like add uh, like from there the newer this thing is also set, and that is how they are setting it. And yep, that's the way how they have done it. Another function that is defined over here, I'm sorry, I'm like really rushing through things right now, but it's just to show what's happening here, and we just have 5 minutes. So mark task is completed is the last um, function that we'll be seeing, which basically we have a checkbox, which again will on change event will just catch whatever change we make, and what we'll end up doing is again another payload that will be sending to call this particular function, submit the function, and then again modify our tasks state to match to find that particular task and then mark it as completed. So that is more or less the end of our to-do list end-to-end dApp on Aptos. So yep, that is okay. Uh, can you first check which network you are in, and can you also check? Can you also transfer some faucet funds to this account and try once? That I think the same account that approval address mentioned in export const module underscore address. Yeah, yeah, okay. One more thing is that if you folks have copied this without changing the module address, that should be a problem as well. So, 1 second, folks. Let me check where this particular address is coming from. Someone. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So for some, okay, you have got this. Both of you have the same address that you have added here. I don't know where you have picked this address up from, uh, but yeah, it's probably not the address that is there. So that's the reason why you're getting this particular error because it's trying to find that particular function, but it's not able to. So use the particular address through which you have deployed the module. I don't know how both of you have the same this thing here. Akhilesh and Jajit. Mm, perfect, perfect, Tumiwa. Okay, so this brings us to the end of class. Thank you everyone for joining in. For the people who are still working on it, just give it some more time. I know I tried to compress